Number 10. Handprint. If you haven't noticed before, there is a clear handprint on Freddy Fazbear's face that sits just over his right eye. It appears to have small fingers, making it seem as though either the person who left it there was someone with very stubby little digits, perhaps someone young, or perhaps some other animatronic. We don't really know who left the handprint, but it also was prominently featured on the design for Freddy and Help Wanted. Though here it was more indented, so it was really even more emphasized. Overall, I think it makes the most sense for this to be a handprint belonging to someone younger, but still based on the fact that this is a video game and hands and character designs can obviously be stylized or be different from, real life where we have a lot of parts to our fingers, it could belong to an older victim as well. Perhaps even someone like William Afton when he was disguised in another suit. Perhaps many years ago, Freddy as an animatronic was attempting to stop William? I don't know. What do you think? Number 9. Allergic to soap. Scary in a gross way. This is more of a general theory in regards to the original cast featured in the first 5 Nights at Freddy's, but it definitely applies to Freddy 2 because of this. It seems as though Freddy and the crew have never been cleaned, like ever, since they went into service, and have likely never been serviced either, as the kids who went missing were never found. So, you'd have to actually do maintenance on them to find the kids, and they never found them, so you know what I'm saying. The evidence for this theory comes from something that Phone Guy says, stating on one of his recordings that he too would probably be in a bad mood if he hadn't had a bath in 20 years. This implies that the animatronics have seriously never been cleaned. Perhaps because doing so presumably causes damage to them. In fact, soap could be an effective tool used against the animatronics, now that I think about it, if you were thinking of doing harm to them. Just like wash them until they're destroyed. It is weird though, and pretty gross, that they haven't been cleaned or serviced in years. Even when I worked at a laser tag place, we cleaned and serviced our lasers and their packs regularly. And we actually used a special solution which would disinfect and clean without doing any damage to the inner workings of the lasers or the packs. Something I would suggest they invest in maybe at Freddy's. And friends, before we move on to the next part of this list, just a quick reminder to go down there and smash that like button. Every time you smash that like button, a new theory is uncovered somewhere. Is that a new FNAF theory I hear right now? Yeah, I feel like there was a few clicks.
And it ain't, it's me. There are only 2 people who have gotten this Easter egg to my knowledge, and it involves the Curse of Dreadbear DLC and completing a game to be taken to the victory screen. There in that barn you'll find 3 posters reminiscent of the ones from the alleyway and Pizzeria Simulator. However, this is where the ability to unlock this Easter egg is determined. You need to get 3 clown posters, which is incredibly rare. I mean, you can get 3 of any of the other ones, but not 3 clowns. Trust me. And I mean incredibly rare. Plus, then you need to hit them all with darts, which you only get 4 of, and if you miss 2 of them, you're boned. I've looked for this Easter egg for hours on both my personal channel during live streams and even on this one during a live stream from the previous lockdown, since I want to find this myself so I can prove to myself that it exists. Since if you manage to do this, the barn seemingly changes to a blacklight version, where the victory screen banner changes to read "It's me" and everything starts glowing because of a blacklight. YouTubers Johnny Blocks and apparently Daco are the only 2 to have gotten this Easter egg from what I've seen and what I've been told in the comments, but I haven't seen Daco actually get it. Not even MatPat was able to get this, and Eddie VR wasn't really trying. Some think that this is because Golden Freddy still has a hold on the FNAF world, and wherever Glitch Trap, or I guess William is, Golden Freddy will follow, because like Freddy and Foxy, they will chase after each other until the ends of reality.
Brings me to another point. Number 7. Shared consciousnesses? I guess we could say it that way too. What if all Freddys have a shared consciousness, a hive mind if you will? The fact that they both make an appearance on the recording for Night 4 where both can be heard could be used as evidence for this point. The message "It's me" could actually have been misinterpreted by all of us and instead be Golden Freddy's attempt to let us know that the animatronic is actually also Freddy. Perhaps even Fredbear as well. Perhaps even Funtime Freddy. Perhaps even Glamrock Freddy. All the Freddys. If all Freddys shared a hive mind, what would this mean for what they know? Or for their behavior overall throughout the games? How terrifying would it be if one Freddy was able to instantly know of your whereabouts based on another Freddy animatronic's findings? And also, yeah, I know this theory is kind of loose, doesn't have a lot of evidence, but it's a cool idea, so just come with me on this journey. It would be cool if the animatronics had some kind of hive mind. Number 6. Women's washroom. The significance of Freddy's ties to the women's washroom, where you can sometimes see him on the security cameras, is pretty eerie. Many, including Game Theory's MatPat, have drawn connections between the real-world killings that happened in a Chuck E. Cheese in Aurora, Colorado in 1993 to the game's lore and plot. All of the core animatronics from the first game seem to tie to one of the victims in their own way, and even the game itself, based on your earnings and hourly minimum wage rates, seems to be set in the early 90s. Freddy doesn't have as strong of a connection to the victim he's believed to represent, but his moving throughout the women's washroom is believed to be a loose tie to the female victim fans believe he could, in theory, represent. All in all, it's pretty creepy. Number 5. Freddy is behind the bite of 87. This one is pretty assured, I think, at this point, but also there are multiple bites and timelines are a bit, or well, a lot, unstable in the FNAF world. So also, maybe this isn't as confirmed as we all think it is. Who knows? Based on the cutscene we get in FNAF 4 where Crying Child attends the birthday party, it seems as though Freddy is behind that big bite, sinking his teeth into CC's head and in fact crushing it completely. I mean, I know they say that it was part of his brain, his frontal lobe, that was damaged, but I don't know. It looks to me like it was really the whole head there that got damaged. Youch. Which is also why I'm like, is this the same bite? Do we really know? I don't know. There is pretty solid evidence, obviously, to back this one up though. Although the timeline still remains something that really could be changed up at almost any point, as it's not quite as concrete throughout the games. I don't even, I mean, you know, we've talked about the timeline before, friends. You know how crazy it is. Number 4. Freddy is alive! What if we are wrong about the animatronics, or at least Freddy, and instead of being possessed by a spirit, he is in complete control because he is alive, and in fact an artificial intelligence? What if Freddy is the leader of the crew who planted murderous intentions in their heads because he is capable of independent thought, so he can actually manipulate others and is truly pure evil? In fact, if Freddy were actually the one in control the whole time, the spirit within him would be even more trapped than the others because it would have zero control. I just also like the idea of like AIs coming to life and being like, ha ha ha, I will do harm to you. Number 3. Freddy is possessed. On the other hand, there is the more solid theory that Freddy is in fact possessed, like the other core crew, by one of the spirits of the missing kids. Of course, initially we didn't really know just which child it could be, but from what we learned in the first game surrounding the mystery of the missing kids, it's heavily implied that the animatronics are in fact possessed by their vengeful spirits, and likely were used as a final resting place for their bodies based on the foul odor and pus and blood that was found in and around the animatronics. We also get more evidence to support the spirit's existence and possession of said animatronics in the minigames featured in FNAF 3. Number 2. Cousin Freddy? My old cousin Glamrock Freddy. What if Glamrock Freddy is actually helping us because he's possessed by a very special spirit? Not just any old spirit, but instead one very close to us is Gregory. What if Gregory is related to one of the victims in some way? It could be a long deceased cousin, aunt, or uncle who was a victim that ended up being bonded to the animatronic. After all, there have been theories about how this new game will introduce a ton of new characters, so it could also be introducing us to, or at least expanding upon, a new family who will be taking the place of the Aftons when it comes to them being the main focus. If Glamrock Freddy was possessed by a deceased relative of Gregory's, this would definitely explain their intention to help Gregory no matter the cost, and help to strengthen their commitment to help Gregory escape whoever is pursuing them. Likely the other Mega Pizzaplex animatronics, Vanny, and Glitchtrap. Number 1. Freddy corrupted William Afton. Going back to my previous theory surrounding Freddy being an AI who has come to life and is in full control, what if it was Freddy that was actually behind the killings? Perhaps Freddy was the one who drove William Afton mad, planting the seed in his mind and driving him to do it. After all, from what we know of William Afton, he doesn't really seem like someone who would have reason to go on a killing spree. He is a father who is the head of a seemingly successful restaurant chain, so there kind of has to be something that caused him to fly off the handle. At least, I think so. I mean, I guess people can just do that without reason, but I can't accept that in terms of the story. Perhaps it wasn't a personal tragedy that did so, but instead was one of his own dangerously ambitious creations.
And at 10, Fredbear's Golden Freddy. One theory I've seen plenty of times, and I'm pretty sure is mostly because of FNAF 4, is that Golden Freddy and Fredbear are the same animatronic, suggesting that the reason Golden Freddy is all limp in the original FNAF and FNAF 2 is because his endoskeleton was removed after Crying Child's bite in 1983, and that's why the suit has to teleport around and cause hallucinations, because it can't actually, like, move. This would also probably probably mean that Crying Child was the one in the Golden Freddy suit. However, we know this isn't true based on the characters being separate in Ultimate Custom Night, and just coloring and size, since Golden Freddy is much smaller than Fredbear would be. I mean, at least I hope. Since Fredbear would also have to accommodate a human, and Golden Freddy wouldn't have to necessarily, since he would just be an animatronic and not a spring-locked suit. But then again, we don't know, cause this is FNAF. And at 9, Yendo. Yendo might initially appear to be just the endoskeleton of Funtime Freddy, but it's more likely that he's the endoskeleton of another version of Freddy that's not yet suited, as Yendo has a right hand where Funtime Freddy would normally have a bonbon attached, but I mean, like, he's able to swap out the hand and you know. Many believe that the name Yendo though, which seems to be a combo of yellow and endo, alludes to him being an endoskeleton of a golden variation of Funtime Freddy, or just the original Golden Freddy endoskeleton that was removed prior to the first and second game. But I mean, again, I don't think so.
Number 8. Freddy killed Phone Guy. While we do hear Golden Freddy's jump scare at the end of the phone recording on night 4, we also hear Freddy's music, implying that Phone Guy ran out of power. It is possible that all animatronics were actually present at this time and that maybe we just didn't hear all of them, and that Freddy therefore also took part in ending Phone Guy. Otherwise, I would suggest that Golden Freddy at least didn't work alone, as Freddy was also there too. It would make sense that the two Freddys might team up to take down Phone Guy together, sharing in their victory over him.
And at 7, the logbook. Some believe that there are two spirits possessing the security logbook, one of them being Golden Freddy and the other is the Crying Child. But I believe that these altered texts aren't another spirit, since it wouldn't really make much sense for two spirits to communicate in different ways, one using faded text and the other altering what was already in the book, and that seems very difficult. But I believe that these are hallucinations that we're seeing from Mike's perspective, but most believe the other spirit to be Golden Freddy. Why? Because they also believe that both spirits share the same animatronic. More on that later. But also that's weird to me. Like, why would they both share the book but also the animatronic? And why would they have to communicate through the book? Wouldn't they just be able to be like, yo, hey, this is me psychically communicating to you? And at 6, Phone Guy. We do hear Golden Freddy's jump scare at the end of the phone recording on night 4. We also hear Freddy's music implying that Phone Guy ran out of power. But is it possible that all the animatronics were present at this time and that Freddy therefore took part in killing Phone Guy? Cause like, if not, I would suggest that Golden Freddy at least didn't work alone. I mean, it would make sense with the two Freddys teaming up to take down the Phone Guy together, sharing their victory, I guess. But Golden Freddy being the culprit is also supported by the stuttering and murmuring we hear in the night 5 phone call, because that sounds an awful lot like the auditory hallucinations Golden Freddy causes us to experience throughout the nights. And come on, if anyone's going to kill Phone Guy, it's going to be Golden Freddy, let's just be honest. Phone Guy crashed a desktop. Halfway through and at number 5, emotions. Now, you see, Golden Freddy has a lot of powers, and frankly, we don't understand why. My theory, though, is that they're actually the different emotions that we can experience, because let's be honest, a suit that is able to transport itself through walls and through doors is just redonk. So I'm guessing that while also experiencing agony, Golden Freddy is hella angry, and that anger is definitely what causes it to crash our game, to make it say it's me, to just make us see all kinds of crazy shit. It has to be the other emotions. I mean, what other explanation could there be? Sure, maybe he's doing it to try to signify that he's our brother, but he has to be able to do it somehow. And other than other emotions, we don't know what else it could be. We've seen no other explanation. Scott hasn't given one to us, it hasn't been in the games, even Fazbear Frights hasn't explained it. All they've given us is that emotions can be powerful or they can be unpowerful, but agony lets us possess things. So if that is the case, then what would anger do? What would sadness do? What would happiness do? I mean, I doubt any dead kids are experiencing happiness, but I mean, hey, maybe they figured out how cruel the world is and are now happy they don't have to pay rent. I don't know. Either way, It makes a lot of sense to me, and you know what, I'm gonna keep believing it until I'm proven otherwise. In at 4, the one you should not have killed. The one you should not have killed is, I guess, the main antagonist of Ultimate Custom Night. The character who most believe to be Cassidy is the one who's causing this whole situation, trapping William in his own mind while keeping him alive in order to torture him for his crimes. And while this may still be Cassidy, I think it could be Crying Child. I have a whole theory with my evidence as to why, so go check that out if you're interested. But no matter who it is, the one you should not have killed can't really be Golden Freddy from the looks. While the evidence certainly seems to point us in that direction, now we know that William isn't in hell or in purgatory in this game, but rather trapped in his own body, thanks to the story The Man in Room 1280 from the Fazbear Frights Book 5 Bunny Call. There is evidence in the form of the Stitch Wraith that multiple souls can possess one thing, however we have not seen evidence of characters being able to possess multiple big things at once. Cause like there was a character who, at least from what I've been told, was able to possess a lot of little things, but nobody has possessed 2 animatronics at the same time, let alone an animatronic and a person. In fact, in Bunny Call, William had to die for Andrew to be able to move on to the Stitch Wraith. So based on that evidence that we've seen, the one possessing William and the one keeping him alive, the one you should not have killed, can't be the one in Golden Freddy.
Number 3, Not So Vengeful Spirit. On the other hand, as we don't have a lot of intel yet on this, it is equally possible that Freddy could be possessed indeed. However, in this case, he still doesn't seem to be acting vengefully here, unless the vengeance shows up in a different way. Many times we've played as more grown-up, adult security guards in this franchise. I think this might be the first time a leading protagonist, or at least what we assume to be the protagonist, is not an adult but is instead a child with Gregory. And so it could be possible that if there is a spirit within Glamrock Freddy, and if the spirit also belongs to a child, as so many of these spirits in this franchise do, that they inherently want to help Gregory because they recognize he is also a child in peril, like they once were. If this is the explanation behind Glamrock Freddy's seemingly helpful and protective nature, then it's likely they are the only animatronic who is possessed, as the others seem more mindlessly hellbent on harming or capturing Gregory. Either that or these other animatronics are possessed but something is manipulating them.
Penultimately, in at number 2, the 2-eye theory. The 2-eye theory states that in the FNAF 3 bad ending, that there are 2 eyes lit up in the head and the back, which we're guessing is Golden Freddy. I mean it's confirmed in the Freddy files, but yeah, to show that there are 2 souls inside the suit. This actually can't be the case, and I'm gonna tell you why. Firstly, it would be more difficult to tell that it was an animatronic if only one of the eyes was lit, because like all we see are the eyes and like a little bit of the mouth, and it could very well just be the reflection of the light since it's so dark. I mean, you gotta take into account how light works. Notice how Freddy and the other animatronics also have light coming out of their other eyes. Secondly, Crying Child wasn't a thing yet in the games. Not coming until the next game, that wasn't even supposed to happen until the community was disappointed with the Springtrap jump scare, since this was supposed to be the end of the series that was confirmed by Scott in an interview. That's why we released the Souls in the Happiest Day minigame. Also notice that only one person wears a Golden Freddy mask in that minigame, and according to the official Freddy Files Updated Edition book, quote, you'll see an image of broken animatronic heads, each with a lit eye, meaning that Golden Freddy in the back has only one eye lit. And I mean, like, considering how this is an official guidebook to the series, we gotta take it as law, right? Finally, in at number 1, Cassidy. Since the beginning of FNAF, we've been wondering about the mysterious and seemingly supernatural Golden Freddy, the entity able to travel through solid doors and walls, who gave us hallucinations and crashed our game when they got to us. Who was this mysterious thing? Over the years, we got a few names, but none of them were for Golden Freddy, most notably because of the gravestone ending in FNAF 6. But even with that, Golden Freddy's name was never given to us. Like, thanks, Scott. And if they are the one that you should not have killed, or if they aren't the one you shouldn't have killed, the name wasn't given to us in Ultimate Custom Night either. Like, come on. But alas, we were finally saved when the FNAF Survival Logbook came out, where after jumping through hoops, more hoops than Shaq has dunked on, we uncovered the name Cassidy. Thanks to Reddit user DPowerful1 taking various wrong numbers on different pages and making them coordinates in the word search, which I have to admit is still pretty weird because 8 and 11 at the end they weren't wrong numbers, they were just numbers that were there, but okay. And since the name Cassidy only appears in one other place, that being the 4th closet, the character doesn't really seem to mean much to the series. I mean, like, in that sense, like, the person who died to possess Golden Freddy doesn't really seem to matter, and that's kind of unfortunate.
Number 10. Our pal Glamrock Freddy. Based on the newest trailer and even the merch leading up to its release, it now seems highly likely and even pretty obvious that Glamrock Freddy will be our friend, ally, and potentially savior, and that for the first time in forever, we'll actually have an animatronic on our side as opposed to all of them turned against us. Not going to lie, I was kinda hoping when this moment came in the games that I'd get to team up with Foxy. Not necessarily Freddy, but hey, I'll take what I can get. It's still really cool to be teaming up and befriending any animatronic in these games. Of course, not everything is always as it seems in trailers, which can be edited to be purposefully misleading so the mystery and story of the game remains intact for that gameplay experience. So while it seems like Glamrock Freddy will be working with us and not against us, we might not want to be too quick to trust him just yet. Number 9. Don't trust Freddy. While Glamrock Freddy does appear to be friendly in the newest State of Play trailer, promising to help Gregory escape, that doesn't mean that he's our friend. At this point, fans of FNAF should be used to the classic misdirect when it comes to someone seeming to be our ally, only to betray our trust. After all, we've seen this to a certain extent in both Sister Location and Pizzeria Simulator as well, with us thinking we knew what was up with both Circus Baby and Cassette Man, who of course turns out to be Henry, who has used you to put his own plans in motion. And we all know what happens with Circus Baby. You get scooped! Based on the history of trusted traitors, I think it's fair for us to go into Security Breach at least being a little bit cautious of anyone who seemingly wants to help us. So although he seems like an ally, is he really? Probably. But maybe not. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more Security Breach theories as we get closer to the release of this game, it's finally coming soon, I'm so excited! Please be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8. Health battery? Question mark? Is that what this is? This is more of a minor, or I suppose more functional theory, if that's a thing. Less to do with lore, more to do with gameplay and mechanics when it comes to Glamrock Freddy and our interaction with the animatronic. It seems as though while playing as Gregory and hiding within Glamrock Freddy, we'll be able to control the animatronic. As seen in the State of Play trailer, after Gregory climbs into Glamrock Freddy, we seem to be able to see from the animatronic's point of view, either implying that we are playing as Gregory controlling the animatronic, or we're playing as Glamrock Freddy, who is actively protecting Gregory of their own accord. Because, yeah, Gregory seems to be like this inside their stomach, so unless he can stand up, I don't really know how you pilot that suit. At the bottom of the player screen, we see a battery whose full charge is divided into 5 segments. This could either be the amount of power we have in terms of controlling and using the animatronic, or it could be a health bar. Number 7. Fight back. If that battery we see on the screen while inside the Glamrock Freddy animatronic is a health bar, what does that mean? Well, it means that we can be hurt as Glamrock Freddy, or as Gregory, or both maybe, but it also could imply that for the first time ever we can potentially actively fight back against our assailants, which would be super cool. Typically in the FNAF franchise, the survival tactics at our disposal have been a lot more passive, with us not even being able to run away from our attackers in most cases. Or move. There's been a lot of us sitting at a desk, pressing buttons, looking around, that's about it. In Security Breach, it seems we can actively run and hide, but how cool would it be if we were also empowered by being able to fight back? Even if it's only temporarily when we're teamed up with Glamrock Freddy, that would still be pretty awesome. Number 6. Scheduled maintenance. Something that I thought was very interesting about the State of Play trailer for Security Breach is that it seems as though Glamrock Freddy and the crew are not animatronics who appear on stage each night. At least, not currently. In the trailer, we learn that Freddy and his band will be taking a few days off from performing actually for scheduled maintenance. The question remains, is this normal scheduled maintenance that happens after each performance, or is it unscheduled maintenance that has to happen as a result of something that went wrong in the show? And if it's scheduled, what does that mean for Glamrock Freddy's personality? Is it possible that the maintenance, or perhaps lack thereof if he escaped before it happened, is what makes him seemingly help us as Gregory? Number 5. Detected. If the maintenance is more unscheduled and unusual in terms of how the Mega Pizzaplex and its animatronics usually operate, this wouldn't be too surprising based on something else that we see in the State of Play trailer, and also involving Glamrock Freddy. There is a part of the trailer where we seem to see from Glamrock Freddy's perspective where he drops his microphone as he falls down. As if from his own point of view, we see a notification that seems to come up on, I guess, his view? What he sees, which declares that a child has been detected. At least that's what it seems to be declaring. It says detected, and there's a little picture of a person. I'm assuming it's a child. It could be a full-grown person, I don't know. But still, if it is a child, this would be a revelation. Granted, if Glamrock Freddy was performing, I assume there are lots of children and adults around. So what this means, we don't exactly know. Could it be that Gregory is already hiding inside him and that causes him to malfunction? Or could it be a child appearing on stage that wasn't supposed to be here and that causes the malfunction? Either Gregory or it could be someone else. Could this be another malfunction turned bite? So is it possible that, Glamrock Freddy bit someone and that's why he's malfunctioning? Is that why the animatronics need maintenance? Well, the theory that this detected notification has caused the malfunction could explain that scheduled maintenance. It also creates a lot of other questions for us to ponder the answers to and the theories for. I like this theory because it's a theory that gives us more questions. And I love when you're like, oh, maybe this fits here, and then it's like, oh, but then what about these things? That's my favorite thing about FNAF. Number 4. Free from possession. With the Glamrock animatronics, although we have theories about their origins, we don't really know anything just yet. Specifically in terms of where they came from, or how haunted they are. It's therefore possible that Glamrock Freddy, unlike original Freddy or Golden Freddy, may not be possessed. This could perhaps be why he appears to act friendly towards us in the trailers. It could be that because there is, no vengeful spirit within him, that he has no reason to act viciously or violently towards us or anyone else. Instead, he truly does want to make sure children have a safe and fun time at the Mega Pizzaplex, so we might actually get to see and experience what an animatronic behaving the way they were originally intended and created to looks like, or at least how we'd assume they were originally designed to be. Of course, William and possibly Henry could have had some other intentions for how they wanted them to act or their motivations behind what they wanted them to do, but I don't think so. I think originally, at least, it was about entertaining kids, I think.
Getting close to the end in at number 3, Crying Child. Some people believe that the one possessing Golden Freddy is Crying Child. This is mostly based on the It's Me hallucinations from FNAF 1 and the reveal that his older brother has been our player character over the first 6 games, excluding FNAF 4. So why would people believe this? Well, like I said, it would explain Golden Freddy's signature line of It's Me, since if we do play as Michael Acton in the first game, It's Me could just be the crying child trying to communicate with his older brother to tell him who he is. It could also explain the constant use of the phrase "It's me" in the security logbook, since some also believe it to be possessed by the spirit of Golden Freddy, or the 2 spirits inside the book are also those inside Golden Freddy. Which honestly, it makes no sense to me, because why would they be posing as why would they be possessing multiple things, like I said. Anyway, with the line of "It's me" being explained easily with Crying Child being Golden Freddy, it leads some to the conclusion that that must be what's got intended, but let's be honest, it's never that easy.
Number 2. Gabriel. Gabriel is believed to be the victim whose spirit lives on and possesses Freddy. Remember when I was like, oh, we don't really know who it is. We kinda do know who it is, sort of, if you believe this theory to be true. Where do we get the name Gabriel? From the gravestones featured in FNAF 6, which seem to have a very particular layout and order on the screen that matches up with the ending screen that we see in FNAF 3, where the animatronics' heads also lay in a neat row, like the graves we are shown in FNAF 6. Fans believe the sequence of these 2 images are actually meant to match up, meaning that the first gravestone aligning with Freddy's head, also being the first, would be the name of the victim that possesses him, hence Gabriel, because that's what's on that tombstone, as you're probably reading because we probably showed you the image while I was talking about it. Editing. Yay. Number 1. Friend to the end. While we've talked about Glamrock Freddy's potential motivations for helping us, and even the possibility of him betraying us, we haven't talked about our theories for how this alliance could end up. One of the things that seems likely if he remains loyal is that Glamrock Freddy won't end up surviving this game. After all, if Glitchtrap, aka William Afton, returns, an animatronic or in human form, to the physical plane of existence, you can bet he won't be happy about Freddy helping Gregory. It seems likely that Glamrock Freddy in the end will be forced to sacrifice himself to save Gregory and help him get away. At least for now. Granted, who knows if Gregory will continue to be safe in the future. After all, this could just be the beginning of his story, even as it might be the end of Glamrock Freddy's. I'm already mourning the loss of him. I'm already like, rest in peace, Glamrock Freddy. You were great. Now you're gone.